Ghostface. A phone rings in an empty house. She answers, the last call of her life. Woodsboro, a suburban home. Casey Becker waits by the phone to watch a scary movie. The caller sounds playful, almost charming.
So, you got a boyfriend?
Then he wants to play a game, horror trivia. But his voice hardens and the game turns deadly.
Hang up on me again, I'll gut you like a fish.
You know that voice the second you hear it. But here's what makes the call impossible to escape. Her boyfriend sits tied up on the patio. One wrong answer and Ghostface kills him. That phone call is why Ghostface became more than a mask. One voice, one question, and every horror fan knows exactly who is calling. The phone was never just a phone again. This killer hides behind a voice. The next waits in the dark beneath the street, smiling. Pennywise. A little boy chases a paper boat through the rain. Something waits for him in the dark. A storm floods the streets. Georgie's paper boat races down the gutter into a storm drain. He kneels at the drain. Two eyes shine back.
Hiya, Georgie.
A clown is down there, gentle, smiling, holding out the boat. But the kindness itself is the real trap. Georgie reaches for the boat. Then, teeth. The arm is gone. You know that smile means Georgie is already lost. This is horror twisting a child's innocence into bait. That storm drain is why Pennywise became modern horror's nightmare clown. One smile in the dark and childhood safety is gone. Some monsters don't chase you, they invite you closer. This one lures you with a voice. The next never speaks and never stops walking. Michael Myers. He doesn't run, he doesn't speak, he simply appears, and the fear arrives first. Halloween, 1978, a quiet street in Haddonfield. Laurie walks home while a white mask watches from across the road. You feel him before Laurie even sees him. Laurie sees the white masked figure across the street. She looks again, and he is gone. Broad daylight, no sound, because he never needs to chase her, and there's nothing behind that mask to reason with. One mask, then nothing. The shape has arrived. This is why he became a legend. No motive, no face, no mercy. One still image of a white mask in daylight is enough. Pure patience is its own kind of terror. Michael gives you no rules to survive. The next gives you only rules and a timer. Jigsaw. She wakes with metal locked around her head. A voice says the clock has already started. Amanda wakes on a filthy floor, a cage of steel bolted to her jaw. A tape plays. Billy lays out the rules, a reverse bear trap, a timer. If the timer ends, the trap will tear her jaw open. The trap isn't the metal, it's the choice.
Make your choice.
The only key sits inside her cellmate's stomach. She has to cut it out of a living man. You still hear Billy's voice in your nightmares. This is the moment Saw becomes a language of rules, timers, and impossible choices. Billy's voice turns the trap into a ritual. Survival itself becomes the cruelest punishment of all. This trap gives you seconds to fight. The next waits until you think you've won. Jason Voorhees. The nightmare's finally over. She's safe now, and that's exactly when it isn't. Dawn on Crystal Lake. Alice is the only one left alive. She drifts in a small canoe. The sun rises, the lake is calm. She breathes for the first time in hours, and everything finally feels over. You never see that hand coming the first time, but the stillness was the warning all along. The water breaks. A rotting young boy explodes out, then he drags her under. This scare became iconic by punishing Hope. Jason barely belongs to the plot yet, but this one hand from the lake makes him unforgettable. Relief is just the trap quietly resetting itself. That nightmare rose from the lake. The next hunts where sleep should feel safe. Freddy Krueger. There's one place you can't run from. The moment you close your eyes, he owns you. A suburban bedroom late at night. Tina sleeps soundly, her boyfriend Rod beside her. An invisible force grabs her. It lifts her off the bed, then drags her up the wall while Rod watches helpless. And there is no waking up out of this one. You can't look away or save her now. Tina is hauled across the ceiling, slashed open. Then blood spills onto the bed. This is why Freddy became different from every other slasher. He does not wait outside the room. He owns the dream inside it. You can lock every door and still have to sleep. This nightmare invaded a bedroom. The next detonates inside a family in the safest room at home. Jack Torrance. The man breaking down the door is her husband. That's what makes it unbearable. The Overlook Hotel. Wendy is trapped in a bathroom. A locked door between her and the man she married. An axe splits the wood, again and again. Then the door breaks and Wendy screams, trapped there with nowhere left to go. The man who loved her isn't in there anymore. Jack shoves his grinning face through the shattered gap and calls out,
Here's Johnny.
The grin tells you Jack is completely gone. That broken door is why Jack becomes unforgettable. One grin, one quote, and the Overlook's madness has a face. The real terror is the person who was supposed to protect her. Jack screamed his madness for all to hear. The next never says a word, and that's worse. Art the clown. He never speaks and never explains. He just smiles like the horror is a joke only he gets. A filthy room. Dawn hangs upside down and a black and white clown named Art stands over her, head tilted, painted grin fixed. You know that grin is in no hurry to stop. Art says nothing, he only smiles. Then he lifts the hacksaw and the room becomes unbearable. No reason is coming, because there isn't one. He works slowly, posing for an audience that isn't there. Art became iconic without a quote or a backstory. His silence and his smiling performance make brutality feel like a stage act. Evil is so much worse when it's having fun. This nightmare looked like a monster. The next looked like a child's best friend. Chucky. It's just a doll, and that's exactly what makes what happens next so wrong.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Karen picks up her son's good guy doll to check the batteries. Just a harmless birthday present, nothing more. She opens the battery compartment. It's completely empty. No batteries at all. And yet the doll has been talking without power. The thing made to be held was holding a killer.
You stupid bitch.
That reveal still makes your skin crawl every time. Chucky twists in her hands, snarls a curse, and bites at her before she flings him off. That battery compartment is why Chucky works. One empty space proves the toy has been alive the whole time. Nothing that feels safe is ever safe again. A toy hid a killer inside it. The next hides one inside a human body. The xenomorph. The danger was never out in the dark of space. It was already inside one of them. The crew of the Nostromo gathers to eat. The threat seems to have passed. Kane laughs along, finally relaxed. He chokes, convulses, his chest moves. Then the creature erupts. It was never out there. It was already in him. Blood sprays as it tears free, shrieking before it vanishes into the ship. You will never trust a quiet room again. This is why the xenomorph became more than an alien. The body itself becomes the hiding place. The xenomorph feels invasive because it enters the body before entering the ship. The call was coming from inside the body. That monster erupted from a body. The next breaks through the screen you trusted. Samara. The screen was always a wall between you and the horror, until it wasn't. Noah's apartment. The television flickers on by itself. On the static, an old well appears and something climbs out. A girl in white pulls herself from the well. Dark hair hides her face. She crawls closer. Too close, because those movements shouldn't be possible. You never watch a TV the same way again, but the screen is about to stop protecting him. Then Samara crawls through the television and into the living room. That crawl is why Samara became unforgettable. The screen stops being something you watch and becomes something that can reach back. Some things watch you back through the glass. Every villain so far needed a trick or a rule. The last needs neither, just a chainsaw. Leatherface. No speech, no plan, just a chainsaw and the will to use it. The Texas heat, just after dawn. Sally has escaped the house, bleeding and screaming, running for the road. Behind her, a chainsaw roars to life. Leatherface swings the blade through the morning air, relentless, unstoppable, driven only by the raw, blind need to catch her. This isn't a man with a weapon, it's violence with a face. Sally reaches the road and finally escapes on the back of a pickup. Leatherface is left swinging the saw at the rising sun. You hear that chainsaw once and it stays with you. That final chainsaw dance is why Leatherface feels impossible to forget. He needs no line, no plan, no explanation. The sound of the saw becomes his identity. The chainsaw screams alone in the rising sun.